Welcome back to Discourse, the weekly occult and esoteric podcast hosted by myself, Avamon the Great, and Dr. Anna Stone. This week, we're talking about private magical practice, how to take clients, the ethics behind taking clients, and how to establish yourself as a private practice magician. So breathe in, young magus, and let the work begin. Two, one. All right, welcome back to Discourse with myself, Avamon the Great, joined as always by Dr. Anna Stone.
Hello.
Hey, and
Hi.
so we're kicking off season 3, I guess.
Yep.
We took a little bit of a break.
We've been busy.
We've been busy, and I got burnt out. It's dumb because it's like, what is a podcast? You get together once a week and just randomly talk into a microphone
Right.
for an hour, 2 hours. It sounds like the easiest job in the world.
Yeah, but it's really not.
It's like it gets away from me so easily, you know,
does.
like between editing and researching and, you know, especially when like life pops up. But yeah, it's just, it's really funny. So we took a little bit of a break. Right. Yeah. But we've been stockpiling episodes. We recorded with some guests. We're sending out guests.
Right. So, yeah, we did. Yeah. And now we're about to go into a new year. Mm-hmm. Right. So new season. Yeah,
new little set design. We're rearranging it. We're approaching Yule. That's going to be coming up in 2 weeks. So
next week.
Next week,
next weekend. It's next Sunday. So that's exciting. I'm so excited for that because that's what I celebrate, right? So yeah, I'm stoked. And I think next week we'll do something on that. We'll touch on that, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So but for our first episode, this is going to be the first episode, is it, of the season? Okay. Yeah. So what are we talking about? Well, first of all, I'm going to do the nerdy legal disclaimer because I know the topics that we're going to cover in this episode could possibly be taken as, you know, like we're trying to give out advice, but we're not giving out, you know, actual medical advice. So let me just tell you guys this for legal purposes. We want to be clear about the nature of the work that we discuss on this podcast for everybody that's listening. We are not providing medical, psychological, legal, or financial advice, and nothing shared here should be taken as a substitute for licensed professional care. Spiritual and esoteric work has limits, surprise, and not every issue is a spiritual one. That's really important. And not every person is best served through spiritual intervention. Sometimes insight is helpful, sometimes restraint is ethical, and sometimes the most responsible response is referral, pause, or no intervention at all. We believe discernment is as important as the ability to help other people, and personal responsibility is essential to any genuine spiritual path. And if you are experiencing severe psychological distress, feel like harming yourself or others, or are in any type of crisis, please seek appropriate professional support. But other than that, what are we talking about tonight?
So we're going to go over something. We had a friend of the show from one of the adjacent websites that I lurk around. A friend of the show watched one of the viewers watched the Exorcist video and then had the podcast, and then had somebody come and approach them for help randomly, and they were like, oh, I've never been approached for an exorcism before. I just watched a podcast with this guy Avamon, and so he started asking me for advice on this, and I basically told him, washing my hands. This is all you, bud.
Yeah.
So we're gonna read what he said. Dear Avamon, I was thinking about this whole being asked for help thing. It happens a lot, and it dawned on me that there isn't some sort of general guidance for that. This might be a cool idea for your podcast or a tutorial maybe just a section where you two tackle this whole aspect of being asked for help and guidance from other practitioners, especially newer ones. What is their background? What is their framework? Do they have any traumas? Are they on any medications? Or should they be on them? All of those things are critical to know and how we should be responding. The last thing we should be doing is just shooting off what worked for us or satisfying our own egos at the expense of messing someone else up. This is where magic can be dangerous. Not because the magic is dangerous, but if we tell a new person with a background of religious trauma to go in ahead and invoke Belial because it was cool when we did it or whatever, that person is at risk of a potential psychological hayride that could have been avoided entirely with a few questions answered. Just a thought, if you guys need any ideas for the podcast, I'm sure you and Dr. Stone would have some good shit to beat up over this general idea.
Oh, we
and
do.
Yeah. Friend of the podcast, listener, Fireborn. So I thought that was a great idea. I love that he came up with that idea, because that is something that me and you actually do approach within. Yeah, we approach it differently, but it's something we've discussed ever since we've met, is that, and we kind of have different viewpoints on it, is what is a private magical practice look like?
Yeah.
And like, what is the, like, if you were to pretend this was a clinical therapy or something, like what are the parameters that we're operating in, and how are we screening people and that kind of stuff? Like, what is the responsible way to be a community magician, a community wizard? Because we do, as magicians, we hit this point in our careers where either people that don't practice magic are coming to us, or people that are new to magic start coming to us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so this is one of the most not talked about topics at all. And I'm not sure why exactly, but you don't often hear people talking about turning people away for services because, you know, most people are full of shit, you know, and they just want money. I'm just going to say it. And, you know, you might have a different take on it, but that's my personal opinion, is that, you know, I don't know any other, I've never been to get a reading from somebody that's ever asked me any kind of background questions. That being said, when I have clients that come to me for, you know, tarot readings, I actually had to stop taking 1 hour appointments at the beginning and only do a 30-minute consult max, because I started having so many people come to me that were highly unstable, and being online with them for an hour was too much for me, and it was not healthy for them, right? So, and, you know, I have friends that won't turn anybody down. I'm not that person, though. I do turn people away. And I think that there's a very good argument for it if you are actually, having, like, engaged in an authentic spiritual path. And there's so many reasons for it. I mean, I have so many points here. I thought about this for weeks now, and what I would say. And, there's a few reasons why you might not. Okay. And I think some people can come across as, unbalanced, unstable right off the bat. And those are easier, but, to identify, right? But the ones that are kind of sneaky, like with it, like where you don't catch it right away, or it becomes clear that this is more of a psychological unresolved issue, like an unresolved psychological trauma or something, because that's common. But overall, it's like, most people, yes, I help, but there are a fair few that I have had to pump the brakes on and say no. And there's many reasons for it. It could be that you don't get vibe with the person. That's fair. Not everybody's for everybody else. It could also be that the timing for that person, what they're asking for, is not advisable. And that's very common, because I think people have the idea that spiritual practitioners, if they're reaching out to you, they're doing it for a reason. They have found you some way, somehow. They feel like you can help them. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, I saw you on YouTube on being interviewed or something, and I knew I had to contact you. Like, you've seen the emails I get. Like, everybody says the same thing almost. It's really strange. So they feel like they were drawn to you for some reason, and they reach out to you, okay? So they are already looking at you like you have some kind of ability that they don't, right? And, they could ask you for something that you could absolutely do, but it's just, that it's not in their best interest, right? People don't like to hear that at all, at all. It could be that if you help them with this thing, that they will then mess up their path because it's something that they themselves need to experience on their own, or uncover by themselves, right? And sometimes it's just the fact that the person is just not grounded in reality or not stable or working out of a place of trauma or wanting vengeance or revenge. And at that point, no intervention is the best case, the best option for me personally. The fact of the matter is a lot of people that come to us for magical services, most of the time, if they're coming to you for spells, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 times it's going to be usually some kind of love spell to get someone back, or some kind of, a banishing, cord cutting, or revenge spell. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, for me, I had an incident once where I did a spell for somebody, and they asked the most ridiculous shit ever. Hi, Max. I'm talking about you. And I told them, this is ridiculous. And they said, no, this is what I want. And I said, but this is unreal. This is ridiculous. You're asking for way too much in one thing, right? It was just way over the top. And they didn't want to edit it. So I went and I asked somebody else that's been practicing longer than me. And they told me that I'm just the pharmacist. I'm just dispensing the treatment. That the petitioner, or the client, is the one who would incur all the karma, the residue, the miasma, whatever you want to call it. And that I'm hands off and I have no responsibility, right? And I bought that at the time because I wanted to, because this person was paying me well. And needless to say, everything he asked for happened. But when it happened, it also it set off a series of events that ended up absolutely decimating his life. And I had seen that in advance. And I had told him that in advance. And I'm talking medical crises, people screwing him over. All of everything he got taken away. Okay. And I have had tremendous guilt over that for the longest time. And then when I ran into him a couple years later, he saw me and he was terrified. He was like, oh no, and I'm like, I told you. And he spoke to me and was like, I know you were right. I'm so sorry I didn't listen. But despite him coming to that realization and knowing now in retrospect, it sucks for me. I don't like that, right? So I don't do that anymore, because I do think we are responsible. We have a responsibility at some point. That person, he may not have gotten any of those things had I not intervened, right? And clearly, judging by the outcome, it wasn't the right time for him, right? So that was his ego and my bias and my ego, and my need, and it just, I wanted to prove it to myself that it could happen too. This was a long time ago, right? And it did. And I have guilt over it to this day. So I would much rather err on the side of caution and prevent that from happening to me again, right? Or to anybody, especially to the client, because mine is just guilt. His had real ramifications in life, right? And that was not a good thing. And he was coming from a place of psychological, feeling less than, feeling like he wasn't, measuring up to what was expected of him. These kinds of things in a very tough town, in a very tough industry, which is entertainment industry, and which is fickle also, right? It's a fickle industry. So, him thinking he's going to get all his fame and fortune, that's all he asked for. He didn't ask for any sustainable stuff afterwards, right? So he got it and it got taken away as fast as it came. That's a cruel thing, right? To happen to you, as I know, right? So it's not fun. And I don't want to be part of that. So there's definitely watching out for people that are egotistical, really narcissistic requests, out of the, just, you read it and you're like, gee, come on, I'm not a genie in a lamp. It's that kind of, it was that level. Right. But that's not often you're going to have that happen. I think the more common one is going to be the person that becomes attached to you and attached to the process of getting services for the sake of getting services. Do you know what I'm saying? This is like a transference issue, right? So what do you know about psychological transference?
Basically where you develop an emotional attachment to the person.
To the therapist.
Yeah.
Right?
And then countertransference is the other way.
Yeah, so that happens. Has that happened to you yet in your practice where someone becomes like
transference?
Like where they just think that you can do all of these things and then they keep bothering you about it all the time?
My biggest issue running magical orders was I became these, like, especially in the left-hand path, you're talking about largely like, you know, loner kind of school shooter type men, you know, that, you know, early 20s, like these are young men, and without fail there would be these, you know, young guys in these groups that would start putting me into this like dad role for them, to where I was supposed to be like helping them and guiding them and mentoring them, and I'm like, you know, I'm 27 years old, right?
I'm doing my own thing.
And it's like, leave me alone, you know, like, don't call me, don't text me, you know, like it's like, and a few of them, like, there were multiple instances where like, I would like literally like, I'm not your dad. Don't talk to me. Don't call me, like that kind of stuff. They would blame me for their problems because these were, you know, younger men with obvious dad issues, and that's probably why they're in the left-hand path and doing occultism. And then because I'm running the order, they're putting me into this like male role. But I'm a 27-year-old. I've only been in the occult for 5 years. I barely know what I'm doing, right? And like, I'm having my own issues, doing my own thing, and these guys are kind of like holding me to this role that like I've got the answer to their problems and that kind of stuff. And when I tell them to F off, leave me alone, stop calling me, I'm not their dad, I'm not their friend, like that kind of stuff, then all of a sudden it's like, well, screw, you know, all that, all like those daddy issues like start coming out at me, and it's like, look, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm not that person, you know, right? And that's like the biggest headache of running the magical orders, like these like little groups or whatever, was the attachments that some of these people would get towards me, where it's like, look, I'm here to do magic. Like, I'm not here to, you know, like I don't know what you think this is, you know, like this isn't.
Yeah, it's true, because, and that's really common. I think that most of the time when people are reaching out to you for that kind of for this kind of service, now this could be anything from, you know, when we say service, I'm talking about like readings, spiritual guidance, like for what they're supposed to be doing in their path. People come to me for that all the time. Yeah. I don't know why that happens. I've never touted myself as somebody that does that, you know, but they turn to me for that. So they feel for some reason that I can help them. And if I can, I will. But I do, if I'm doing a shadow work client, you know, like if I'm doing a spiritual path guidance kind of thing, I am going to give them psychological assessments. I am going to ask them questions. They're not going to be clinical, right? They're going to be more on the religious side, because I'm an ordained minister and a doctor of psychology, but I don't practice clinically. I'm a research scientist, right? Like I'm a researcher. So, but I'm, you know, through my ordained minister status, I can provide spiritual counseling.
Well, so that's something for those of you at home, right? So one of the things that you do with the tarot readings is you like to say this is for entertainment purposes.
Of course.
But there is a kind of legal loophole that if you have ordainment, you have clergy penitent protection, which it puts you in the same position to where, like, so there's the privacy that you have with the client. Like, you are a magician acting in a clergy capacity, that kind of stuff. You have the same protections that a priest has with a confessor and confession. But you're also a mandated reporter.
Yes, you are.
So if you are operating under clergy penitent protections, whereas your client is the penitent and you are the clergy, if you're operating under those, you are now a mandated reporter. And if they
say they're going to hurt somebody
hurt
or
somebody
themselves,
hurts themselves,
you must
have to report it.
Yes.
And you have to record it. Yeah.
Yes, you do. And so that's not fun, but it is, I'm a teacher. I've been a management reporter for a very long time. So I'm familiar. I hate it, but it's necessary. And, I've never had to report anybody. I've wanted to. I was close, but I haven't. But that is important distinction. So if people are coming to you for this kind of help, let's be real. People are litigious, right? People are very litigious. People love to put blame on other people. You've got to be very careful when you are dealing with clients that are highly emotional, highly reactive, highly volatile, mentally unstable, maybe diagnosed, maybe not. I don't know. But all of these things can definitely impact you. So, it is entertainment purposes only, always be for that reason. Yeah. That you do the best you can, but there's always going to be, you're never going to make everybody happy, right? Luckily I have not experienced this, but yeah, I'm sure at some point I will. It's just the nature of the beast that, when something doesn't go the way somebody wants, whose fault is it? Is it theirs? Never. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's never going to be their fault.
Yeah.
And you'll see this very commonly with clients that ask you a question, want help, and you tell them an answer and they just ignore it or they're so convinced that what they want is what is the right thing that, no matter how many readings you do, no matter what you say, they're still going there and they're coming back for another reading the next day or the next week. I had to cut people off. I had to be like, I'm not doing another reading for you. This is obsessive. Get your own deck of cards and read for yourself. At this point, right? Yeah. It's difficult. So, all of this ties in with another very uncomfortable aspect of this discussion, which is charging for services. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with this topic, but a lot of people do.
Yes.
I can't tell you if I had $1 for every time I heard, you shouldn't charge, it's a spiritual service, blah, 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 I would be hella rich. And let's get that out of the way because I feel like that's an important thing to discuss. So there are arguments for and against on both sides. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if we're looking at the historical, take on it, right? Mm-hmm. The idea that you should be doing it for free is non-existent. It is a very brand new thing. Because throughout antiquity, there was always some form of payment exchange, some form of exchange. It may not have been dollars. What was that?
I don't know.
What was that?
I have no idea. Yeah,
it may not have been dollars.
So I think that there's a difference where it's if somebody's in spiritual crisis, and you can help them. And then you're like, well, I'm, give me $500 or you're done. That there's a difference between that.
Explain. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, if somebody's in spiritual crisis, right? So if somebody showed up at our house right now. Yeah. And was obviously not okay. They having a mental breakdown on the edge, I'm going to hurt myself. I would stay up all night and I would talk to them. Yeah. And that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be like, all right, give me $500.
No. Yeah, of course.
So there's a difference. When you're talking about going to a magician, magicians are particular. They provide a particular service that a priest does not provide, that a monk, a guru does not provide. You're going to a magician because they are doing something a little bit different, right? Okay. And so magicians, magic is considered an art form. It's considered a science, right? That's what we used to call it, right? So magicians are artisans. Yeah. Okay. So when you go down to the swap meet or whatever, and the lady is selling her vases and each one costs $500, you're not paying because the clay, for the material, the clay. Yeah, she's not saying that the $500. It's that this lady's an artisan. Yeah, expertise. She has this expertise and this skill, methods and skills, and you are paying for the years that went into learning how to make that vase. And so that's kind of the role that the magician is kind of sitting in, especially like with me with talismans, like 100%
it costs money.
I am an artisan.
Yeah.
Yes, I am an artisan. But at the same time, it's like when it comes to initiations or spiritual counseling and that kind of stuff, it's like you're paying me for my time.
Yes,
right?
you are.
You are paying me. It's like my time is worth
money.
This amount of money.
Yep.
If I'm going to step away from
the other
my kids, my wife, my your life, mundane stuff, and take time and sit down with you, that you're paying me for that time.
Yeah.
But does that, I mean,
so yeah,
I spend a lot of, like, I also spend a lot of time volunteering and offering.
So so the way that I work this is I have a, I have a policy that, like, if you are experiencing a need, send me a message, let me know what's going on, and I will determine whether or not I'm going to either lower the price or possibly give it to you for free. Not many people have done that. And when they have, I've obliged, right? But there's a risk of that being taken advantage of. But I just, for the people that are like, that's ridiculous, or this is stupid, or whatever, let me just break it down for you. So there has never been a time in history when priests, magicians, healers, or diviners universally work for free. Not once. Never. Mm-hmm. That idea is absolute fantasy. And the most common arguments you're going to hear about this will be the following. Spiritual work should be pure and altruistic. Okay. That's the underlying belief there, is that money contaminates the sacred. Okay. But this confuses intent with exchange. Sacred roles have always been materially supported. Anybody in a position of power spiritually has always been monetarily supported in some way, shape, or form. Whether by getting a place to live, by getting actual goods and services in exchange for theirs, it's been supported. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's why priests are paid. Priests are not doing it for free. There is no clergy out there that isn't being paid, that has parishioners, none of it. That's not true. It's not facts. Okay. The next one will be that charging exploits vulnerable people. Okay. Well, there's a power imbalance and dependency that can occur, right? But being exploited comes from a lack of ethics, not from the money itself. Okay. It comes from the person who's receiving the money, but not the money itself. Free work can be exploitive too, right? If you're giving out free work all the time, you're exploiting yourself. Okay.
No. So, exactly. I mean, so we're in LA. What's the famous?
Interns.
I'll pay you in exposure.
Yeah. Do this free work. So
I worked on exposure for like.
Yeah, we all done it, right?
Like
it's
6
horrible.
years of my life.
Okay, the next
that's exploitation.
The most common one I hear though is God's spiritual gifts should not be sold. Okay. Oh. Well, the underlying belief there is that gift equals obligation, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. A gift does not negate the cost of labor, time, training, and personal risk. Okay. Doesn't. Charging proves it's fake is the next argument. Okay. If you're charging, you're fake. Okay. So you got to be poor to be real. You got to not be able to pay your bills to be spiritually gifted. Really? That is a cultural myth that is rooted in a romanticized idea of people that take poverty vows, etc., which is very few people do that. Okay. Very few have that practice. So those are the arguments against, but the arguments for are, time and labor, like you said, are real things. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Preparation, ritual work, interpretation, aftercare, and energetic recovery all cost time and energy. Training has value. Like how long your practitioner, the person you're going to, has been practicing matters. Like I've been 35 years, this is my literally life's work. I've been doing it forever. The results you get are not, they're going to be the same as something you get from somebody that's less experienced. So you're paying for expertise, like you said, right? Charging proves it's fake. Again, this is no, that's the old one. Sorry. As, exchange creates commitment. So here's this is my most logical one. When my prices were lower, I had the most crazy ass people contact me. Just off the wall. Crazy motherfuckers. Just contacted me. Not to get readings, just to be a creep. Second I raised my prices, I started getting real clients. Like real ones that wanted actual change and real help. When I was charging less, I was getting just whoever. You know what I'm saying? And so it's counterintuitive, definitely, right? But at the end of the day, people that expend money on something are already making an intentional act by doing that. by saying, I'm going to pay for this, that shows the powers that be that this person's taking a step in the direction of getting an answer for this problem or whatever. That sets the ball rolling. If it's a free thing, that's not happening.
Well, it's also a level of commitment too. And I think we take a step back from, if you have a private magical practice, just taking a step back into the mundane, where when my life changed, when I escaped the paycheck to paycheck poverty cycle, moving every single year, that kind of stuff. It was when I started thinking about how much my time was worth and setting that. And I priced myself out of employment with basically what I was doing.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I priced myself into a place where people were paying me where I could afford to live.
Yes.
So it was like, it was uncomfortable at first. It was like growing pains. Nothing changed except how I started thinking about myself. It wasn't like somebody gave me a promotion. It wasn't like I got special training or certification or anything like that. I started telling the people that I was working for, it's like, this is how much I'm worth. And if you can't afford me, then I don't work here. And then somebody else is like, oh, that's how much you're worth.
Yep.
I'll pay you.
Yep.
And so that's when I kind of like learned about this principle.
Yeah.
And this is a masterclass in assumption as magicians, right?
Yeah.
I wear the wizard robe and call myself Abalon because I act in the capacity as a wizard.
Right.
Now, if you have a private magical practice, right, and you are, let's say, doing tarot readings, and you're doing them for, let's say, $60.
That's how much,
$60 an hour. Who do you think is going to be doing that? It's going to be a lot of horny guys online that
that's
like
exactly what it was.
Exactly. And so who out there is going to be paying you $120, $200 an hour? This is going to be somebody that is established in life, that is seeking genuine spiritual direction.
Right.
Is probably going to be a repeat client, and somebody that you can have an actual healthy
business
professional relationship with, somebody that you can grow with and help them on their journey, and you price yourself into that. And so maybe you're not getting as many of the $60 horny guys that won't get on the webcam, but you are getting quality clients, and it takes a while for you to establish a rotation of those people.
You do, because I mean, and see, when you have the cheaper prices though, then you get them all the time, and it's just, it's chaos. It's literal chaos, and it's super draining. Okay, it really is.
I don't think that it should. I don't think anybody out there should be focusing on like, this is going to be my main bread and butter. Not. This is a side hustle.
So it is. It's just something I take clients 2 weeknights a week, and that's after 6 p.m. between 6 to 8. That's a 2-hour window, and then on Saturday, that's it, from like 10 to 2. That's it.
Yes.
And half the time I won't even do that because I'm busy. I have other things going on. This is something I do now just because I want to help. Right? But still, my time is still worth money. I'm not just help. Again, I do help for free when I can. Like on our lives, I do all the time, right? That's not paid. And that's kind of like that's one of the ways I do it, is by offering free readings on our live streams to be of service, right? To people that may not be able to afford it.
I set out one day a week where it's like that, which is Sundays is my service day. Because after we do the live stream, I go and do my other stuff. Like Sundays are my days that I'm of service and I do my volunteer work.
You do, yeah.
And then like I'll take phone calls throughout the week from people that I personally know that need my help in that kind of stuff. But other than that, it's like, look, I already give what I can. Anything on top of that, it's like my time is worth something.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you want my time, then, I have to pull myself away. But
people are more likely to take it seriously when they pay money too. Like that's the other thing.
Yes.
Is like, when your money's involved, it's like suddenly, you care more, right? And you're doing the things. Like,
but I just don't think it's sustainable as like, it's like, okay, I'm going to be a private practice magician.
No.
That's going to be my career. I do not believe
that even the shamans of a village is not the only thing that they do. It's not like it, right? I mean.
So I don't think that's something that you can bank on unless you're like trying to go for like Justin Bieber's magician. You know how he has that
like
pastor
celebrity.
that follows around,
Hey, and I have a client. I have a client that does that. I have a client that does that for. I can't say their name, but a very 80s rocker.
Yeah.
And that is her main job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But she comes to me for help. So.
Well, yeah, we come to each other too. Yeah. People with
sure do
within this, like we go to each other for help.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but let me just be clear. So the other thing, the big thing here is that when you don't charge, now when we're in training, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking when you're past the point of that, like when you're actually, you're confident, you're getting results all the time. It's no longer a training ground, right? Like you're actually doing it professionally.
You should set it, right? So like me and you, like when we're on the live streams, me and you, we say we are of service right now.
Yep.
So somebody comes up, come up with their astrological chart, or they ask you for tarot cards, and we do it is because that block we have set aside.
Yep.
That we are of service.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. Open for service.
Yes.
So if you are beginning and you are sitting down and you're like, I'm doing this to be of service and to practice, right?
Yep.
And you sit down with that intention, then you're paying yourself.
Because
this is my volunteer
you're getting
work.
your experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But after that point, okay, let me be clear that so in all esoteric traditions and all of them, okay, energy must circulate. It has to be exchanged, okay? No exchange creates an imbalance. Now the person you've done the service for is in debt to you, right? Energetically. So in ancient traditions, offerings supported priests, tithes supported temples, fees supported astrologers and diviners, patronage supported magicians and scholars. Reciprocity is not corruption. It is the balance that's necessary for the stuff to work. So that's my argument for it. So now that we've established that, and if you could disagree, that's fine. It's free country, free to disagree. But that's where I'm at with that. It's, so there's that. But so now we have paying clients and they want you to do stuff. Maybe that's out of your wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Like an exorcism for this person. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about exorcism. So 9 out of 10 times, it is not going to be a possession that you're dealing with, right? If someone comes to you and says, I'm possessed,
I think oppression is something that you'll run into a lot, and it's definitely something you can do stuff for. Sure. That's very simple. That's
okay.
Very
Let's
easy.
Talk about that.
Yeah,
so, so there's stages of possession, right?
Yeah.
And it starts with infestation, then oppression, or is it oppression then infestation?
It's oppression, then
infestation.
Yeah.
Okay, so oppression is what? What does that look like?
Well, it's when you get stuck in that place and you just can't seem to get out. Everything starts going wrong. And it's
not your fault. It's everybody else doing it to you.
Yeah,
can't catch a break.
It can be. You can get into a dark mental place. There's bad things that are happening around you.
I was suppressed my whole life for a very long time. Yes,
but you get stuck in this kind of rut, and sometimes it can be extremely mild. Like for me, I'm at a point where I'm extremely sensitive to the spiritual influences. Yeah. I can tell when something is entering into my sphere of influence that is not good. Mm-hmm. Because my head starts going into this kind of like lethargic, stagnant place to where I don't want to do anything. I don't want to continue. And like, okay, stuff like that is very, very simple. And that's something that like your friends may come to you for, like, let's say your friends are having trouble with, motivation or mild depression that they can't kind of shake or whatever. This is a perfect opportunity for you as a magician. Like, let me come over and clean your house for you. Give me $60. I'll come over with some tools. We'll do a house cleansing and you'll notice immediate effects. This is a great use of your magic. But we have to talk about like when these people are approaching you and they say, I think I'm influenced by an evil spirit, or there's a spirit in my house, or I think I'm demonically oppressed.
Right. Okay. So
yeah.
So the first thing here is, and again, this is not if you're not an ordained minister or a licensed therapist, social worker, or psychologist, this can be gray area, right? But I do think that it is important for people to be aware of the criteria to meet some of the diagnoses that like could possibly be playing into it, right? So they can identify not to diagnose, of course.
No diagnosing.
No diagnosing. But just so personally they can have an idea of like maybe what's going on, right? So you need psychology.
Always need to be thinking of an etiology. And so what we saw in the exorcism episode was the very first magician for hire, which were the very first exorcists in Mesopotamia. They were etiologists. ETIO. Etiology, not ideology. Yeah. So they discerned whether it was going to be from, if it was a mental issue, if it was a physical malady, or if it was a spiritual one. This has always been within the tools of the exorcist and of the magician for hire. This happens within the Catholic Church with exorcists. So in order for you to diagnose, is this person having a mental breakdown or is there really a spiritual issue? You have to be familiar with a little bit of what's going on, what a mental breakdown looks like.
Yeah, so there are measures that you can get online, different assessments that you can get online that you don't ever administer them to your clients because that's illegal.
Yeah.
But you can ask them in non-clinical ways, just get some background intake information, right? And if you're going to be meeting with somebody for a spiritual service, then you should be doing an intake form of some sort. Like you should absolutely be taking record of when you're meeting with them, and ask them some basic questions like, what was their religious upbringing? Number one, if you're asked if this is a possession thing, you need to know what the heck, how they were brought up. Were they brought up in a highly religious home with fire and brimstone kind of thing?
Is their grandma a hoodoo priestess?
I mean, that stuff matters, because a lot of us have religious trauma and are terrified of evil spirits or the devil. We saw The Exorcist too young, something like that. It doesn't, who knows? But, it would be very wise to be like, why do you think that? Where is this belief coming from? Why are you going straight to possession or demons, right? As opposed to just having a bad luck or, you did something stupid and you had a bad consequence.
I'm having a panic attack.
Yes.
Why is it a demon? Why is it not
because
a panic attack?
9 times out of 10, it's going to be, it will be one of the following. It's going to be substance-related symptoms, psychosis or severe anxiety, trauma response, or religious or cultural fear or conditioning. That's going to be 9.9 times out of 10. It's going to be that. And honestly, if it isn't that, okay, then you probably should refer it out. Like you probably don't want to, it would be highly unethical to take on a task like that you are not prepared for. It could potentially cause not only the client a bad outcome, but yourself, right? And possibly your family or friends. So if it's not, possession situations are not for amateurs at all. And I would say that you would have to have some religious training to do it properly, honestly.
I think that, depending on the magician, right? So an experienced conjurer should be able to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
I wouldn't go to my local, I wouldn't go to the girl doing tarot readings at the metaphysical supply shop and ask her for an exorcism. But if I'm dealing with like a grimoire traditionalist that's been practicing Goetia for 20 years, I would trust that person with commanding some demons.
Sure. Yeah. But you need to know your audience. You need to know your practitioners. If you're looking for somebody, you need to make sure those people are qualified to do those things. Yeah. This is because there are there's obligations here. Like it's not as simple as like, oh, I'm just the pharmacist. I'm just dispensing the medicine. There are things will attach to you. Like it can be very draining. And that's the other thing. It's like saying no is not like a sign of weakness or like even an abandonment. Sometimes saying no is the most ethical and kind thing you can do for somebody because you are the one that has the expertise and it's up to you to make that call about, can I help this person or not? Is me helping going to cause them to go further into some kind of spiral? Or maybe the thing that they're asking for is some kind of magic that would cause them high levels of distress if they were to witness it. And do you want that on your shoulders? Like I've been that person. I've done that. And it, I have people that are scared of, like literally scared of me for giving them exactly what they asked for.
Yeah, I always think of I always use karma as a way to, when I'm asking myself if I should be taking, when I'm discerning for myself if I should be taking a task on. And karma, it gets very, very confused in the West as like a kind of eye for an eye thing. Whereas karma is more about, the seeds that you're planting. Yeah. And karma is karma, whether it's good or bad. All karma is, even good karma is bad karma because it's still an attachment, right? Yeah. And so I have to think about when somebody is asking me to do something, what kind of karma am I planting? Right. What seed am I planting? Yeah. And I'm more concerned in that moment because I'm very much when it comes to magic and when people are adamant that they know what's best. I have people sometimes that come to me for talismans. Now, the reason I do talismans is because I like making talismans. And so if somebody wants me to make them a special talisman, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Like, just pay me for my time, that kind of stuff. But, some people come in with some horrible ideas for these talismans. Yeah. And I try to explain why that's a bad idea. And they get a little like forceful or pushy with it. Like they think that they, know what's better, up. Yeah. And when I start noticing that, my default mode is like, all right, cool, let's do it your way. Yeah. Like, like let's do it your way. Yeah, fine. I mean, what are you paying me for? Yeah. But then but it's in those moments I have to take a step back and like, okay, so is this going to hurt this person in a way that's important for their growth, or is this going to hurt a person in a way that's going to plant bad karma? Right. Yeah. That cause problems for me and other people.
I mean, I feel like if somebody wants me to do something that they wouldn't take responsibility for themselves, then my answer is no. You know, like if you know what I'm saying? Like if they wouldn't, if they could do it themselves and then but they wouldn't, and they were putting it on me because because there are people that are like, well, I don't want that karma, so I'll go get someone else to do it. Right. But I don't want any of that. I don't want to deal with that. When we accept harmful requests, right? Like, if we, somebody wants to do some kind of baneful magic to somebody else and, their reasoning is slim, if anything, right? Then that's degrading our own work, like it's degrading ourselves. I think, it's bad, and it can lead us to having some kind of like residue on us, that's not good, right? It kind of taints our aura, I think, a bit. I think so. It can also bring us the consequences, because in every single, except for modern times. Okay, so it's the 19th and 20th century saw this, the birth of this idea of the pharmacist vibe, like where, you're just helping the person. You don't get any of the karma. And I bought that time because I wanted to. But that's not what history says either. And that's not what all the other traditions say. So the modern one, 19th, 20th century, is this one where it's not we're free of it. It's the intent of the person that came to us, right? Not us.
Well, I like to think of it like it's so in order for that to make sense is that there has to be some kind of like intellect or some kind of cosmic accountant that's weighing whether something's good, bad, and who's getting paid back for what. Yeah. Whereas like when I think about karma, like karma to me is like gravity. It's like accumulating mass, right? It's like there's not an accountant. It's not discerning what's different and stuff. It's like it's like creating drag. You know?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like so. Because in the Greek and Romans, like, in the Greek magical papyri, it has the practitioner is not neutral. That the practitioner is an active agent. And it's like, if you called it, you answer for it, right? If you direct it, you are implied. Like, okay. In Jewish mysticism, that tradition holds that practitioners are much more responsible than the petitioner.
100%. You have to ask in order to do anything within Kabbalah. Yeah. You have to get permission from the big G himself, which is like, how do you even do that? You know?
Improper use risks spiritual damage in the practitioner, in the magician. Misuse is considered to be a grave offense, regardless of who asked for it, like who asked. And because you're invoking divine names, you're altering spiritual structures, and ignorance or emotional distance does not absolve responsibility in their eyes. This is why most of the rabbinic authorities forbid operative magic entirely, except for in rare cases. And then in Islamic esoteric traditions, the magician's niyah, or intent, matters and is accountable for misuse of spiritual forces. And some operations are forbidden regardless of the petitioner's reasons or desires behind it. In that tradition, the practitioner is seen responsible for what you invoke, why you invoke, and whether or not you had the authority to do that. And, because people do that all the time. They just say, oh, I can do it. Then in the medieval and Renaissance grimoire traditions, the petitioner is at risk. In Solomonic magic, the magician has to be purified. And if the things go wrong, it's because it was a lack of pure ritual purity. It was a lack of, the proper preparation, etc. And the person that has the authority to command the spirits bears the consequences of those spirits, and the errors that come from it, right? So it will all fall on the magician, not the client in that case. You are not a delivery system. You are the interface, and you are responsible. And then in folk magic or cunning craft, it's a shared but equal burden. It's shared and unequal burden. Practitioners bear the spiritual risk. The petitioners bear the social consequences, right? So the practitioner carries the spiritual residue, accumulates consequences, and requires cleansing and protections constantly, right? So if you're not doing that, then it's going to accumulate on you, right? So you're not just free. So you got to remember, like, whatever ask of you, whatever is asked of you, like, do you want that on your kind of, on your like spiritual like inventory that you did it, I think it's important.
Exactly.
Right. It's like I said, the guy that I helped, briefly, I feel bad about it. Did I warn him? Yes, I did. But did he listen? No. And then when he didn't listen, I should have not done it. I should have been like, he's not listening. But I was much younger, and So the only thing, I think, like everything that we're going through right now, it's basically can be boiled down to one important, I guess, golden rule, is that you put the client's best interests as your main priority. Right. And because all these pitfalls that within this, they come from wanting either more clients or repeat clients, right? Yes. So you're either doing something that you don't know how to do, or that you're in over your head, or you're doing something that you know is wrong, but just because the person is paying you, or you're doing something because you're trying to seem like that's an ego, an authority, right, on like whatever it is. And so or you're doing something that requires a doctor or maybe a priest, like something that's like, maybe you shouldn't be going to magician for this. Maybe you should be seeing a doctor. Yeah. Right. And I've had to say that. I've absolutely had to say that. If you always put the client's best interest first of all, setting a price that kind of acts as a barrier to entry. It does, and it's important. I'm a serious magician, and if you are serious about getting serious help, you come to me, right? Yes. So you get rid of all those people that are going to create conflict for you, right? But then even once you get there, let's say you haven't had a booking for a few weeks and somebody comes to you and they're clearly suffering from clinical depression. Yeah. Clearly suffering. Do you take that person on and be like, oh yeah, like I'll give you some meditations and we'll be okay? No, you tell that person, it's like, look, maybe you should come to me, but come to me, go see a doctor, and then come back to me. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing. So I can't help you. You have and there's a difference, is because like magic and what we do, spiritual counseling, it helps for stuff that's mild. That's not clinical. That not doesn't clinical. Need like below the threshold. If
suffering from mild anxiety, mild depression, things just aren't going your way, like that kind of stuff. Perfect place for a magician to step in. Is like, let's push things in the other direction for you. Let me give you a sick meditation that I pulled out of a fucking 8th century book.
But if you're running on, hypervigilance fumes and cortisol and severe trauma or, substance abuse, especially that's such a big one. And so I do have screening for like Google Forms, right? Yeah. And I've sent you through them. Yeah. And there's 3 things that I'm screening for on my intake form. Yeah. I'm looking for obsessive compulsive tendencies, right? Because the obsessive compulsive tendencies are going to kind of show me if this is a person on edge. Okay. If somebody has a lot of obsessive compulsive tendencies and is going to magician, this is somebody that could very quickly snap into psychosis. Right? Yeah, or also just become a super burden on you.
Yeah. So I'm looking for that. I'm also looking for substance abuse issues and coping mechanisms. Right. Yeah. I want to see the level that somebody is coping. Yeah. So if somebody is like has like a bunch of beliefs and behaviors that are designed around their coping mechanisms, then I know how effective like the magic's going to be. Right. Because I can't really help somebody that's attached to that a bunch of different coping mechanisms, right? They're not going to be able to.
They're not going to be able to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not going to be able to be worked on, like through the transformation process. So I'm searching for that within my screening, and then I'm also searching for religious training and like you said, I'm like looking for religious, spiritual background and that kind of stuff.
Right. There's so many times that I have a lot of clients that are, middle-aged women or men, and they come from religious backgrounds, but they've always had some kind of ability, and it's been kind of shunned or like not talked about. They've been scared of it because that was their training their whole life. And sometimes it's like, I just know that if I say what I see, that it's going to cause them some kind of distress, right? So I don't, you have to kind of edit also. Like you have to be able to discern who is able to hear what you have to say the way that you need to say it, and then who can't, right? I think discernment is the biggest skill of any magician or practitioner of any type, to be able to know when to set a boundary, right? And stick with it. Because I personally, I don't want to be responsible for anyone's, fall down the rabbit hole, like, or just upending their lives because they now see that everything that they believed was false, and like, oh my God, all this other shit's real. Like it was destabilizing for us when we discovered it. And like, I kind of don't want to be there for that, like, oh yeah, really don't.
I don't. So the person has to be, I don't know. You've seen me do it in the past with unstable people. I have. And it has never worked out.
And every time I tell you too, I say, exactly. I always like, no, they shouldn't. And this was But that's my skill. I can see it in people very easily. Like, okay, no, this person's not ready.
It's like one of those things. I'm at this point. It's like I will not. I'm at this point where I'm like, unless I can see that you're like have a job, are
the
like
basics,
like have a sleep hygiene, just like normal, just like well-adjusted. Like, okay, you are a stable, well-adjusted person. Okay, yes. I'll initiate you. Right. If you don't have that stuff, if you're an unstable person, I'm like at the point it's like I can't do it.
See, but you had an FAFO, right?
You're gonna end up the last person. Yeah. Ended up homeless in freaking Tucson.
Yeah, I know. I saw it in a car like a stolen. Like, wasn't a whole bunch of shit, right? Like,
no, it was a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
dude.
It was like crazy, and I called it. Yeah, but like
that was nuts.
But sometimes we have to know. We have to experience that ourselves. It's hard. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating. The other part of that is because we do want to help people.
Yes.
And these people are typically people that like we have some kind of relationship with at some point because we're getting to know them. We're getting to know their issues, right? And like for me, it's hard for me to separate.
We've got one viewer that gave a little bit of guidance on a self-initiation with, and he comes to the live streams and stuff, and watching what this man's been going through is like, it brings tears to my eyes. Like when he emails me and he shares like what the journey that he's going on, because it's like so beautiful, because it's like, it's actually working.
Yes.
You know,
that's what the goal is every time.
Yeah, exactly. And you see the transformation, like his life, his magic. You see this transformation, and he's like so excited, and it's like, that's one of the greatest pleasures of having this. Is watching somebody transform and experience it. And it's like, this guy, I mean, I don't think he needed me to tell him how to initiate, you know?
He did, though. And it's that permission. It's like, so sometimes people come to you, they already know what to do.
He was ready for it.
They just need like a little like guidance, right? You know, I have somebody, like myself, somebody that I went to high school with, that I was close with when we were really young, gave me my first deck of tarot cards, actually. That's the girl. And she had a very serious medical emergency a while back where we almost lost her. And when she came back, all the stuff came back. All the abilities came back. And she was losing her mind. And she reached out to me and my other friend. And we, you know, and this was one where we didn't charge. Like, we just did it, right? Because this is someone I know. She's in a crisis. She's not well. But I know her well enough to know that it wasn't not well mental. Like, it wasn't like it was causing her mental distress, but it wasn't an underlying mental issue. You know what I'm saying? It was a experience issue that wasn't resonating with what she had been understanding as possible her whole life, right?
Yeah.
And it was destabilizing. Now, you know, she's doing much better and happy. And like, I get these emails or messages on DMs, you know, saying like, you know, you helped so much. Thank you. I get that from my clients a lot. And every time makes everything worthwhile. All the weirdos, all the stress, all of the, you know, people that don't listen, the people that are, you know, taxing on us, like the ones that are getting it is like worth everything, right?
Yeah,
like it really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like I'm really doing like really helping people, because that's the goal. And, you know, but again, like the money part of it is like, it's nice, but it's more of a fence, like it's more of a barrier.
Boundary.
Yeah.
It's a boundary.
Than anything, because without it, you get people that are entitled, that you get people that demand things of you. I mean, I used to do live readings on Facebook groups. I cannot tell you how many people were so fucking rude in the comments. Like, when is it my turn? You skip me. Hello, who are you? Like, did you not see me in the, like, just the most asinine, like, rude shit. And it's like, what the fuck? So
there's...
No, calm down.
Something like... I'm not saying you need money in order to do spiritual practice. I'm saying you need to take care of your stability before you start pushing into esotericism and magic.
Yeah, you can.
That you need to take care of that first.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
So it's like you don't need money to pray and to meditate, but before you start pushing into something like esotericism and magic, you know, have a little bit of stability in your life. With that being said, right? When I went through my mental health crises, I couldn't afford it. Like, I was a broke, you know, poverty person, like that kind of stuff. But my mental health was so important to me that, you know, I, you know, went to my employers and I got a family medical leave so that I could go take care of my thing. You know, I went on their stuff. I used the government things against them, like, you know,
keep your job,
so I could keep my job and that kind of stuff. And like, I paid, and it was like really, really difficult. It was super difficult. It put me in a really bad financial situation, but my mental health was worth it. And I paid what it took in order to take care of my mental health. Right.
Yep.
And so I think that if, you know, we're talking about what the payment for magical services are, it's like, if you're talking about seeing a counselor, seeing a therapist, it's like, if you are committed to, like, I want this person to help me like I like think of it like a counselor or therapist, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to pay this person $80 a week, and once a week I'm going to go to them for an hour, and they're going to give me spiritual counseling on this spiritual
and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to do the things.
Like, to me personally, I would do that.
Like where there's a will, there's a way, right?
It's like when I have a therapist, you know, I don't always have a therapist. I'm not always seeing the therapist, but once every few years I find I need to start seeing a therapist again, right? And I pay the $120 a week to see the therapist again for a few months before I'm like, okay, I feel like I can do it, you know? And that's what the private practice magician should be. But then at the same time, as a private practice magician,
it's case by case.
Yeah. And it should be your main bread and butter. You're going to create desperate situations for yourself where you're taking clients that you shouldn't be taking, and where you're doing stuff. If you're like, this is how I'm going to pay my bills, right? Yeah. It's like, this should be a side hustle, and the money is a barrier of entry to kind of like
get your time,
a boundary in order to get your time. But you know, if you're not in that need mode to where it's like, I need to see clients in order to pay my bills, then you have the ability to say like, look, I need you to go see a therapist before you could talk to me.
Exactly.
Or I need you to go see a priest before you could talk to me. And then also you're able to, okay, well, 5 days a week, I'm able to see clients. And then 1 day a week, I go and I'm of service and I volunteer my time and I do the tarot readings for free and like that kind of stuff, right? And just kind of like even the scales out.
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's just important to make sure that you're being ethical, you know, like whatever that means to you, I guess. But you know, you're not taking advantage of people. Like, think of the thing that comes to mind is like the people that get readings and then they hear that they're cursed. And that now the tarot reading turned in from, you know, a tarot reading to, I've got to remove this curse that's on you. And the person's so scared, right? And they're like, okay, so they start giving them money. No, like, you know, that's not ethical. Like, that person is fake bullshit. Like, that's not true. Like, you know, I mean, everyone's cursed. Like, come on. You know, you don't want to be that person. And I think that, you know, having the ability to say no because you're not desperate, because it's not your bread and butter, because it is what you're doing because you love helping people and you can, right? But just because you can does not mean you always should. There are many times that you should not. And those cases are what we were talking about. Unstable people that are not willing to listen to the advice. Like, there was a point a couple years back where, you know, I had been on like an interview kind of circuit for when I died. I don't know why people wanted to talk to me about it. And I never expected to get clients from it. That was never an intention. I just wanted to talk about the experience because I wanted to help myself process it. But it led to hundreds of people booking me. And it was my full-time job for about a year. And I have never been more burnt out in my life. I'm a teacher, but you know, and that's a really taxing job, especially when you're teaching like K through 12. This was worse mentally for me. It was so draining, like back to back to back, you know, and I would forget to do any kind of clearings, like cleansing. I would just be in the worst moods. Like, and it's really like, there's no way unless you do this work that you could possibly know what I'm talking about. But there is a real fatigue that comes from working with spiritual energy, right? There just is. And it's, you know, you can't run yourself ragged like that either. Like, you've got to, you know, I have a habit of going over time on my readings, right? Like a lot. And I'm trying really hard to curb that. But, and that's like, that's one of my, you know, shortcomings there is like, I will go over, like someone books 30 minutes with me and I end up talking to them for an hour. Like, that sets a bad precedent because now they're going to expect that, right? Like, so you got to like really, and I'm saying stuff right now that I'm actually like not good at doing, but I'm working on it. This is important to just make sure that you are taking like the proper respites and like, you know, time, self-care time as well after clients to energize, you know. I always meditate, but because I feel like if somebody's paying me for my time, I need to be at my best. And when I'm at my best, it's like, so even though they've only paid for an hour, I'm going to spend
the 30 minutes beforehand, 45 minutes beforehand, purifying, meditating.
Yep.
You
And
know,
you do.
so that way I like show up at my best, because they're not paying me to show up like all agitated or like, oh man, like, you know, the trash man didn't come today.
Yeah, the pipe broke. I got a leak in my house.
They're paying for an hour of Avalon the Great Wizard.
Yeah.
You know, let me hear.
Yeah.
Yes, my child, like that kind of thing.
No, for real.
Yeah, that's what they're paying for. And so I need to set myself. I don't want to be walking around with like any mundane, dirty energy and that kind of stuff.
I've actually gotten on calls with people and said, listen, I'm not in the mood today. I'm sorry. Like, I really am sorry. I will refund your money. Because I do require payment before service. I do. I learned the hard way, unfortunately, because there's people out there that will book you and then not pay you, right? So, but I will always offer, but most of the time, 9.9 times out of 10 here too, is that the people are like, oh, no, totally understand. So there's no shame in saying, hey, I know we had this appointment set, but I'm not on point right now. Because I would prefer that. Personally, if my money's going into it, I would want someone to tell me the truth. Like, they're having a bad day or they had too much on their plate, whatever it is. I would much rather have their undivided full attention for my money that I paid for, right? Than be competing with all the other shit going on in the background, right? So I have done that a few times. I've had to, and and it never was a detriment to my clients. Actually appreciated it. I think, and that's the other thing, is being honest with your clients, telling them what you can and can't do. Don't set yourself up for failure by agreeing to something that you can't pull off, right? That you're not going to be able to do because you don't have enough experience or whatever. Because at the end of the day, you're not only degrading your own work, but you're kind of making us all look bad by doing that. Like, it gives the stigma of that it's fake, right? Yeah.
So and this is something that's really important, and I'm glad that we're having a conversation about this, because I think our friend, the viewer, was right that nobody really has talked about this, but it's the community magician, the community witch, the community wizard is a very ancient and historic role. And it goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years into prehistory. We're talking about all the way to the dawn of civilization. That when we first started coming to tribes, the role of the community magician, witch, wizard has always been there, right? And we may have lost that. It may seem a little silly because the past 100 years, we were in the age of scientific enlightenment. And that was seen as...
That's the penultimate.
Yeah, exactly. But we're back in a place where people are doing this.
Yes.
We're back in a place where it's a normal thing. It's like, how many of you, I don't think there's anyone normie listening to this podcast, but I'm pretty sure every normie has a friend or a weird sister that does Reiki or
something
is, like, charges. It's like this is a part of our society again now. And so how do we move forward, and how do we take cues from counselors and therapists, and it's like, okay, what's the code of ethics there, and how, as magicians, as witches, as wizards, how can we have our private practice and practice what we do authentically in a way that's ethical, with our clients, in mind first, that doesn't degrade what we do. Right. Because what we do is important. It is. And it's something that society has always needed, and that's why the role has always been there in the community. I know. I mean, it's like, it's mind-blowing to me, because when we started doing the live stream, I thought to myself, like, no one's going to watch this. And I know. Everyone's going to think we're such weirdos. Yeah. But we just did it because we wanted to, because we love it, right? So, and then we have this group of people that keep showing up and interacting with us and telling us, sending us emails about how helpful it is for them and how they look forward to it every week. And it's like, what? That's awesome. Like, and it makes us so happy. You have no idea. Like, we're just, but it's like, because we like it, but the idea that other people will find benefit from it is still always such a nice, like, it's great, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, that's the point. So, and it is important, because we have people that, like, like last week didn't feel well, and so we couldn't do it. And then we had the comments like, oh no, like, I've been looking forward to this. It makes us feel terrible. But at the same time, it's also nice to know that, like,
hey, like they're serious about it. Like they're showing up and they're participating and they're getting something out of it. And it's being helpful. We're being helpful to people and giving them information that they weren't getting elsewhere or whatever it is. And that's always like, that's the goal, right? Is to spread this out and,
Well, yeah. So people... I think what we're at as a spiritual practice, like if you could say, I mean, the extracurriculars of magic and esotericism and what we do, the occult, right? The extracurriculars is the cool stuff. Like, I can do a spell and make something happen. That's fun. That's cool, right?
Yes, right.
But what really is our path about? And like, why do we do this? It's like whatever brought us into this path, which was more than likely the cool extracurriculars, it's like, oh, wow, I can influence stuff.
Yeah.
Once we're on it, we get into this place where it's like, oh no, this is actually this is a path of mysticism. We are performing something that we believe we've been performing for many, many lifetimes, right?
Yes. Well, I think so. Yeah, it has to.
And so, and then so being able to kind of like find each other and do it togetwe be like, oh, hey, we're all on this, and like share that.
Yes, it's lovely.
Share that with people. Be like, hey, like, look, we've found out that we're on this path that we've been on for many lifetimes, and we're all going to the same place, and like you're going to, and just to share that with people.
It's like that camaraderie, like kindred spirits kind of thing. It's nice. And
it's like we're all going to Mordor. Like it's crazy.
We're all hobbiting it up. Yeah, it's not. No, it is nice, and I I appreciate my clients very much. The ones I've had to 86, I wish them the best. I've never been mean about it. I've just been like, this isn't working for me. But I have a hardline nose, right? Like, if there is any kind of domestic violence going on that I can ascertain, nope, I'm not doing it. If there's, and I'm talking about like the perpetrator of that is trying to get me to do something for them, which is very common. Men, most of my clients for spell work are men, which blows my mind. Definitely wasn't expecting that.
I think the most desperate spells I get are from horny guys,
Yeah, I mean, they're like, all like, it's about like, oh, she left me. And I'm like, well, why did she leave you?
Yeah. So and I don't get those ones. So I'll get some where it's like, horny guys that are not in a relationship with like a 3D biological thing that are in their weird whatever those things are called, paraphilia or whatever, and they're trying to get me to do spells for that, and I'm just like, bro,
I heard
it happens to me all the time. These people hit me up all the time, and I'm just like, oh my god.
I don't know.
It's like I'm like I feel like somebody's like talking about me on DeviantArt or something like that.
DeviantArt.
Magic to make their weird like furry stuff come. Oh god, that shit. So and it's funny too, because like I'm an internet. I was raised on the internet, and I'm just like I know what's going on with you, dude. I know that you're like 27 years old and you're really into Percy from Thomas the Tank. Like, I know this is what's going on here.
From Thomas the Tank? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, dude. It's always those guys.
I gotta tell you later something.
Those guys are always hitting me up for the weirdest spells. And I could tell, that, they've probably just come out of, some passionate, stuff when they're emailing me, and I'm just like, oh my God,
no, see, that's, I don't know. Is that like a mental issue? I'm not sure, like it's not a reality issue. Yeah.
It's internet people, Could you imagine being like one of those types of internet people and you're just like really worked up, and then all of a sudden you see like something crosses your screen and it's like the Great Wizard Abamock and a talisman, and you're like, oh! Like, you're gonna email him, it's like, finally,
yeah,
like, I found the wizard.
See, and that's what you gotta look out, like, for people that are doing spiritual bypassing via magic, right? And people that are doing like unrealistic. I mean, there's some, there's some that I'm just like, no. Like, I've had some requests where I'm like, I'm sorry, what? No. Wrong person. Good luck with that, though. I guess. So it's up to use your best judgment, always. And again, like Abimon said, it's about the best interest of the client, not you.
Well, so that's how you're going to say integrity at all times, And so if you can maintain the integrity to consistently put the client's best interest at first, even if that means that person doesn't get to be your client.
Yep.
Even if it means like this person does not need magic, they need a psychiatrist, and you lost a client. If you can maintain that integrity, then slowly you will build up that,
right.
That practice you want. It's like, if you don't maintain that integrity, there's like so much chaos that it's like, you're going to be begging for, $40 tarot readings. That's where you're at. If you can't maintain that integrity.
Right. And it is about, again, you're going to attract the clients, that pay for you, right? So yes. It's and again, it's a barrier of entry, and that should be, because the amount of, again, entitlement and absolute chaos that will come from having a lower threshold of that is going to not be worth it at the end of the day. It's just temporarily, sure, but like, it's like any of those businesses that have like the Groupons. It's like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, a business is trying to get clients, so they heavily discount their services. And then they get a whole shit ton of people come in. But now they're not making overhead, right? Mm-hmm. And now they're in a deficit. There's an initial, boost, right? Financially. Yeah. But it does not.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah. So don't put yourself in that situation. Just charge what you're worth, right? And if you're training, then train. And don't charge, and know that you're not charging.
Yeah, set aside that time. Be like, okay, so when I was training my intuition, one of my favorite things to do was on Friday night, I would go on to either create a Reddit thread, go into a Discord server, or I'd go on create a 4chan thread. The reason that I'm doing this is because they're completely anonymous people.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it.
I have no idea who these people are. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm sitting in here for the next 2-3 hours and I'm giving tarot readings, right? Because I'm sitting there and I'm training, and that's it. Yeah. Like, I don't know who's on the other side of the screen. It's training how accurate I am, but it's like, I've dedicated that time. It's like, I'm doing this for free, right? But then it's like, okay, so you get to that point where people start approaching you. Don't just, because you do get to that threshold. Yes. You will get to that threshold where people are going to start.
People reach out to you.
Yes. If that is starting to happen to you, think about, like, what does the therapist charge? Like, hold yourself as a professional.
Yes. You don't professionals, like, you're going to go get a $5 haircut. You're going to go get a $50 haircut. Exactly. I mean, $5 haircut, you're going to get a $5 haircut.
Yeah.
It's like that. And, unfortunately that does mean that some people that, don't have the money but do need the services might miss out, but that's why you offer the of service hours as well, right? Always.
You figure that out, okay?
Right, yeah.
So therapists have sliding scales they use with people. Mm-hmm. I'm involved with a lot of men that need help, and there are certain ones where it's like, okay, we're working together on something and you're paying me. And then there's other ones where it's like, hey, you are literally starting from the bottom and you need some guidance and some help. Like, call me once a day at this time.
Discernment.
And,
discernment.
Like that kind of shit.
Yeah. So that, like, and I like, there was this, I said it earlier today and I was like, ooh, I like that. I like what I said. So I put it in quotation marks and I thought it was good because I do believe this. Like, this is what I was talking at work, with my coworkers that have nothing to do with this at all. It was my actual, like, career job. And I was telling my coworker, we were talking about it and I said this and he was like, And I was like, oh, wait, what did I just say again? So let me write that back down because I thought it was good. But I do think that it's about, having, like, out of all the skills that we could have as practitioners of, the occult, it's, it's about discernment is the most important one, because without it, you're flying blind, like you're driving blind, like you're you don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know what energies are around. It's imperative that your discernment is key. So that if you're going to be taking clients, that's, like you said, your intuition, you're practicing your intuition, right? Like, that's important. You must continue that always. Like, it never ends, right? You always got to be checking yourself.
I always read on a client before I read for the client.
Yeah, do you?
You know? Like, I always check. I always check specifically with my guardian. Like, you know, who is this person? What am I in for? Is this the right thing? I always check too before I make talismans for people. I will never accept making a talisman for somebody without running it through my guardian. You know?
I know.
It's like, can I make this? And then I also run it through the spirits that will be attached to the talisman, and I run it through the sphere and the god forms and the place. I ask at every part, hey, are you okay with this person having access to this, doing this, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I always check with that stuff before I meet with the client. You know, before I get the approval and make sure like everything's okay. This is within the will. This is on path. But I'm pretty cautious like that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody should do that, but I'm very much the type of person that I am. I'm like, it's like your will, not my will. You know, like that kind of shit.
Yeah, I know. Mine is my gut just tells me yes or no, and like if I get that, the only times I've ever been wrong is when I've ignored it. Honestly, like when I ignore it.
Yeah.
And that's because of the desperation factor, like or just really wanting to help somebody, even though all signs are pointing to this is not going to help. And all that does is end up frustrating you and draining you. And now you're of no good to anybody. Right.
Yeah. So. And then, but I mean, that there's times where it's like, you know, you're helping somebody and they're not ready and they fuck up. And it's like I used to take that personally.
I know.
And now I'm just like, no, like this was, you know,
this is part of their path. Either way, you know? They fuck up or they don't. That's still part of their path, right?
Like,
so
I was like, I don't need to take this personally.
No,
like, this is
right.
You know,
no, it's not. It's not personal. But you know, you will, if you are sloppy with your vetting of your clients, then you will find yourself in a lot of trouble, definitely. And then that sucks. You know, you can't do that. So
I used to think like really bad people that were like really bad. I mean, mentally, not like bad.
Yeah.
Not evil, just like they're not.
Yeah, like they're not there. Right. Yeah.
I used to think that they were like challenges or something.
No.
I was like, no, dude.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. I mean, and then there's the you know, that could come across as somebody that's very unstable or somebody that's seemingly stable but really narcissistic or sociopathic, and they're coming to you now because they want control. They want power. They want things that, you know, is absolutely what they don't need. You know, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You're right. And that's a really hard thing for us to come to terms with sometimes, but it's really, I think it's a sign of a real true professional and somebody that's really walking that spiritual path genuinely, to be able to know when to say no.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, and that's you know, I think that's the best advice that we could possibly give.
The best advice. It's like, okay, so like people are starting to come to you for help, right? And it's like, okay, I think I am ready to fulfill this role in my community or my e-community or whatever it is. I'm ready to set up shop. Be like, look, I am open for business. Carry yourself like a fucking professional.
Yeah.
All right. You are a professional magician.
Yeah, you got rules, you got boundaries.
This is an archetypal assumption, okay? Just because it's magic doesn't mean you know, like, act like a clinician.
Yes, you are doing work that is, you know, life-changing. It can be.
And very life-changing.
For good or bad, though. And that's why, you know, ideally you want to be on the good.
Yeah, right? you maintain that integrity. You maintain your integrity, you put your clients first, and it's like, it's okay if it's like, you know, sometimes you're just like, oh man, like I'm really excited, you know, I want to work with this person, and you lose focus. It's like, I'm more interested in getting this booking than I am in, you know, is this in the client's best interest, right? But all it takes is for you to recognize that and be like, oh, okay, let me just switch it back. Okay, is this in the client's best interest? There's nothing wrong with that. No,
there's not. They might feel like, they might get mad. Not your problem. But like, again, it's not your problem. Like, it's like you're, and it's true, like your reputation will precede you.
Yes, and your reputation, exactly.
And if you're unscrupulous,
longevity. You'll get the longevity from there. So it's like, if you put in at the beginning, it's like, don't jump off this and being like, hey, this is going to pay my bills. This is my new job. I can quit my day job that I hate or whatever because I'm going to be doing this. Don't do that. Spend 4 or 5 years maintaining your integrity. So that, and working on yourself and working on your private practice so you can get to a point where it's like, okay, now maybe I can do something with my occult work.
Yeah. But really, otherwise it's just going to be hit. It's just going to be it'll be very unstable. Like the people you should be turning away.
Yes.
But yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think we covered everything, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was a really good topic. I liked that topic.
Yeah, thanks for that suggestion.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was really cool. We're gonna get into some more stuff. More guests. Really excited about that. We got our new little setup. If you haven't checked out the live streams yet, those are happening every single Sunday. We do an occult magical service. We're doing a little bit magic experiments together, psychic readings, that kind of stuff. That's proven to be pretty fun. Yes. We got a new podcast distributor. Which I'm really excited for. We're going full steam ahead on this podcast. Yeah. I'm really excited.
Yes. I know.
And then
we love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
We got some
tired
other,
all the time, but yeah.
Yeah, we got some other stuff in the works. So we've got our video spells.
Oh yeah.
Like, we're doing recipes. There's going to be subscriber only though. We have a secret magic app that has been in development. Yeah. That's going to get launched pretty soon.
That's great. You did such a good job on this. Yes.
I know. Super stoked on this app.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta keep using it. I gotta keep adding stuff to it.
Yeah, it's basically like the dream app I wanted for myself.
Great.
So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. So welcome to season 3.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks guys so much.
I think we're going to be doing next few episodes, we're doing Yule. We have an interview with a theosophist, and we also have we're going to be doing the Golem, which I'm really excited. That was a viewer request.
Right,
but
that's great. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
Do some more deep dive research. My drug of choice. So, yes. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you then next time, or catch us on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our live stream Sunday service. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
You've been listening to Discourse, where we venture into the mysteries of esotericism, the occult, and the depths of spiritual exploration. I am Abamon the Great, joined as always by Dr. Anna Stone, bringing adept insights to help guide your journey. Remember, the path of wisdom is illuminated by both knowledge and experience. Until next time, continue your exploration and stay attuned to the unseen.